As a Souls-focused creator, I can do nothing but recommend Lies of P to any fans of the genre. It's a great game and probably the greatest Souls-like ever made. It isn't shy about showing off its influences, and most of the game is in one way or another directly inspired by FromSoft design. I don't think there is another game currently out that comes as close to matching the Souls series experience. And before we get too far into why, I want to note that the actual Souls games don't count when ranking Souls-likes. I'm not rating Lies of P against any of the originals. Games made by FromSoft aren't Souls-like, they're just Souls, or Born Sekiro rings. Just like how Doom isn't a Doom clone, it's just Doom. So Lies of P is very obviously a Souls-like, and it's one more committed to fitting that mold than nearly any other game, in my opinion. Level exploration is rife with curling paths that lead to doors and ladders which become shortcuts. The gameplay is centered around stamina consumption and monitoring, though it is a bit less tactical than say Dark Souls 1 because everything is much faster paced. Your kit features a guard which functions like the parry in Sekiro, and a dash and rally heal a la Bloodborne. There's weapon upgrading through stones found in the game world, plus special weapons that are attainable from boss drops, if you don't use that boss drop to gain some leveling and shop currency, here called Ergo. There are equipable amulets found throughout the game which do a range of things from increasing stats and resistances to buffing damage towards certain enemies. There are healing items which recharge on death or resting that can be upgraded in number and power. There are tons of surprise enemy attacks around corners or from ceilings or in tight rooms, and of course there is a large emphasis on the game's boss fights. I could go on, but this should show how deeply Lies of P commits to the genre formula. And while there are tons of examples of this, I should point out that there are areas where the game goes in its own direction too. For instance, armor is not a thing. All your outfit choices are purely fashion oriented. Armor and resistance stats are determined by additional equipables. The weapon system is also unique, with every normal weapon having a blade and handle which can be separated to mix and match between all of them. I would say that the upgrade system, which is done through the collectible quartz item, is also different as it gives a kind of skill tree only somewhat like the one found in Sekiro. Lies of P also features a much more active, real-time story that takes place while you play the game, unlike most of the Souls games which have more of their stories relegated to lore. And in that vein, Lies of P also gives a bit of direction to its NPC quests, noting in menus when there's an occasion to talk to somebody for some advancement of a quest, a feature very much lacking in Souls games. These differences are there, but even they often prove the rule that Lies of P situates itself within the Souls world. Its departures are never strong enough to break the feel of the formula. So, with all these familiar elements and the high production quality of the game, I think it's an easy argument to say that Lies of P is the best execution of Souls elements in total outside of the originating extended series. There just isn't another game that does so much Souls stuff at a high level of quality. Some areas I think it does especially well would be as follows. The music, largely because of the songs on the record player being so good. The enemies, which are punishing throughout the game, often able to chunk your health if you don't pay them some mind. The secrets, of which there are many to find on every level. And lastly, the combat and boss fights, which to me feel like they hit the zone of being difficult but generally learnable. Once you do start to learn, you get into the flow or dance of combat FromSoft is known for being great at. And this is furthered by the quickness granted from the dash step, the guard parry, and the opportunity to gain health back while attacking. So with everything I've said, I just don't see other games matching Lies of P in terms of Souls-like quality. The only other game I'd think to bring up would be Nioh, and I can't speak as much to Nioh 2 since I haven't played it, but my experience playing Nioh 1 was great. It just had more things going in a different direction, like the more loot-heavy RPG element and the stance switching in combat. I really enjoyed Nioh, and I'm not weighing in on overall quality between it and Lies of P. But when it comes to Souls-likes, Lies of P sticks to the formula more, and therefore is better at giving that particular experience. Lies of P is directly emulating the Souls series much more than Nioh is, kind of more like Lords of the Fallen and Mortal Shell. Now, we do have a new Lords of the Fallen coming out soon, but at least until then, I think Lies of P currently stands as king of the Souls-likes. As such, I would recommend it to any enjoyer of the series or franchise. If you generally like the Souls games and Bloodborne and Sekiro, I would find it very odd if you didn't also like Lies of P. Granted, there is no multiplayer, so that could be a deal breaker for some, but with the summon they give for boss fights, I simply think most fans will enjoy the game, and that's part of why I think it deserves the title of Greatest Souls-like. It fits the expectations of the genre more than any other. But despite the grandiose title, I think I would actually enjoy Lies of P more if it was more different, if it was less like Souls. We've been playing Souls and Souls-like games for years at this point. Hell, Iron Pineapple has probably played a few hundred or thousand of them himself. Lies of P does a great job with the formula, but some of my favorite parts of the game were when they loosened up on those rules. There are endless door and ladder shortcuts, but my favorite was an exploding minecart in the barren swamp. The story progressing in real time and letting our character be part of it was a lot more lively than what we get in the Souls games too. And obviously, the devs prioritized the unique weapon system as a differentiating feature. Lies of P is a great game, and shows off skill from the developers at NeoWiz and Round 8. I think it would have benefited by not sticking so closely to the established Souls formula, but it is an impressive feat to do that formula as well as they did. And with such skill now demonstrated, I hope that future content, whether it's for Lies of P or similar games, can branch out. The Souls games are beloved, but I don't think the goal should be just to emulate them. Instead of a stand-in recreation, a puppet of a kind, I think the devs and anyone else making a similar game should strive to go even beyond that, to create a real standalone experience that lives on its own. I will be putting out more Lies of P content in the near future, so subscribe if you enjoyed this and want to see that. Thanks to my patrons for their support, thanks to you for watching, and see you in the next video. Peace.